Hello, Internet. My name is Ted, and this is my channel, Nerd Immersion. You're familiar with that. And I have a very special guest, good friend Joe. Say hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, I knew he was going to do that. Yeah. But, I just, this was something interesting. Joe does something pretty cool that not a lot of people do or people are curious about. And I thought it would be cool to just talk a little bit about how things work in this process of making your own custom dice. Before we get into that, you may have seen some of Joe's dice floating around from the D&D block party, which was just this past weekend, that myself and some friends put together, and they were some of the giveaway options. And you'll see dice occasionally going across screen here of the different sets. But tell us a little bit about who you are, Joe. Who are you? Let's start with that.
I'm Joe Dye. I am the owner and maker of Dyce with a Y. And you can find me on Twitter at RPG_Dyce. And yeah, I'm just a simple dice craftsman, and been just making dice and improving, and finally got my own custom set that I'm putting out to the public, and trying to make a name for myself. Yeah.
All right. Well, there'll be links again to all of the social medias and websites and everything in the description if you want to check them out for yourself. So let's talk a little bit about gaming, right? So obviously you're at one of the pinnacles in my mind of like playing RPGs and tabletop games and things is making your own dice, which is another level. That's like, I put that up there with like, I run my own games. I create my own games. Now I create my own little sparkly click clacks that allow me to play the games. So how did you get started in gaming?
Well, I've always played video games ever since, I think Super Nintendo was my first system, and kind of always gravitated towards RPGs and, role-playing games. And when I hit college, I had all these new experiences. And
as we all do, sure.
A friend of mine introduced me to D&D, and just, opened my mind. Now, we had played for a few years, kind of regular sessions, went through Curse of Strahd and a few homebrew kind of pseudo campaigns, and just absolutely fell in love with how open-ended and creative D&D is. And something about just the tactile texture of dice, and
Sure.
How everyone has kind of their own distinct personal flavor that is simply expressed with the favor of the dice. And
sure,
sometimes they match it to their characters, or bragging rights. It's a whole spectrum of things.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen that. I own hundreds of dice, but I use the same set of 7 every time, which is kind of like my wallet is not happy about that, that I keep buying dice, and I'm like, I use the same set every time. And I envy people who are like, this set is for this character, and I have this set that I just bought for this character, and this is really cool. And I'm like, cool, but I'm gonna keep using the same ones I bought off Amazon years ago because they roll really well. So what was talk me through a little bit about the genesis to making your own dice, right? Obviously you said you're a big fan of D&D and the dice and the way they feel and the kind of the personal connections people have with their dice, whether they hate them, they love them, they put them in dice jail, they burn them or throw them out if they roll really bad or kill a character. So what led you to say, you know what, I want to go into making my own dice?
Well, I've always been kind of a tinkerer. I like to mess around with things, build things. I'm a musician, so I like to put instruments together. I build circuit boards to make effects pedals. So I've always been kind of into the DIY, as you know.
I do.
DIY, yeah. But after hopping on Twitter and seeing just the amazing tabletop RPG community out there, and the beautiful photographs of all these independent small run dice makers that just create these like works of art in miniature, it kind of fascinated me. And they always have kind of a seem like a little bit out of reach, or their commissions are closed, or it's it's kind of hard to actually get your hands on these things. I kind of looked into it, went on YouTube, and the glory of YouTube there is a tutorial for everything.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, piecing it together from different sources, I found my way through it, got my materials, and slowly but surely making improvements, learning, trial and error, a lot of failures. Eventually get to the point where you have a pretty solid die.
And about how long would you say that process was to get there from kind of just ballpark it when you started looking into this before you got to the point where you're like, this is a set of dice that I would want to have somebody else roll at their table?
Hmm. Say probably about 6 months of
Okay.
trial and error. Yeah.
And that's
But
after you had the materials already, like actually making things, or is that was like acquiring and then getting to the point?
Well, so part of it is you can make dice. You can easily kind of make a mold of an existing set of dice,
Mhm.
and do your own kind of thing to it. But actually having your own set of dice, with a custom font or a custom logo, and having it be completely unique to what you see in a die, that took a little bit longer of time. So I guess if you're just want to make your own version of an existing set of dice, if you have the materials, a few months of trial and error.
Okay.
Make it happen.
So like I said, I have a whole bunch of dice, and so many other people do. But because you spent all this time going through, and like you said, coming up with a custom font, in theory, a die I get, a D20 I get from you with your custom font and your custom mix of resin or materials or whatever, that will be uniquely different to anything that I have because you custom designed this basically from the ground up, from a blank faced die to the final product, correct?
Yeah, correct. I 3D design each one of my dice, and I have a 3D printer, resin printer at home, and yeah, from my designs, I print them out myself. Then I sand and polish them to about 8,000 grit
Wow.
sandpaper, so
Okay.
just the glassiest of glass. And yeah, from there I make silicone molds, and yeah, everything I do is in house and from
It's
a
just
lot of
you,
people.
right?
Yeah,
At the
just
moment,
me.
yeah. So it's literally handcrafted dice, right? I mean, all they're 3D designed and then handcrafted, but
Yeah, each and every one, as I've spent a lot of time polishing that thing to perfection.
so I guess in my mind, as someone who is a DIYer and is a fan of all that kind of stuff, that's unique in that your dice, if I get a set of your dice and somebody else gets the same set of your dice, there may be slight differences in them because they are handcrafted rather than just like a machine injected in a mold where everything's going to come out the same every single time. And that's part of the process of getting these dice is they are custom crafted by you, and it's a unique touch to each one, which is pretty cool to think about.
Yeah, yeah. Each one definitely has its own distinct characteristics. It's impossible to tell exactly which way the glitter is gonna start to kind of coalesce in one corner. If there's 24 karat gold foil, it's the way that it moves and ends up shaping by the time the resin is cured is yeah, each one is absolutely unique.
It's it's basically a blank slate when it comes to this. You're choosing the colors, you're choosing what goes into it, whether it be translucent in theory or opaque or completely clear. Like I said, different mixes of colors. You could add glitter, you could add the flakes, all sorts of different things to make this really as customized as you want. And again, to your point, glitter in one die is different than glitter in another die. So this may have more of a swirl pattern. This one may get kind of lumped in a corner, but you can do all sorts of cool, unique things. And essentially, if you can think it up and put it in the die, you can make it happen.
That's true. I feel I get that Willy Wonka song, the Candy Man,
Yeah, sure.
stuck in my head because it's yeah. I mean, I've kind of amassed a pretty good collection of different materials that I can add to the dice sets. Different colored uh, mica powder that
Mhm.
has that swirly kind of texture. More glitter than any person should own. Alcohol inks to color it. It's and any combination of any of those things can lead to a totally unique and super cool, or a little like oh, to
Mhm.
some of the B stock. But
Sure.
yeah, like I said, it's all trial and error, and it's fun. Each time you open up the pressure pot, you don't really know exactly what you're gonna get, and cracking open the molds and seeing just a beautiful little fresh D20 is it's a great sight.
So I guess to that point, you can make all these custom dice with all these different custom materials and things like that. And that's, again, it still blows my mind that there are, like, you had the decision in your head, let me go and do this. And then now it's a reality. These dice exist. I've seen a bunch of the different materials on them and the different designs and things, and they're really cool. So if people wanted to, now you have a website, I know that, and I've seen a bunch of different designs. So if I said, hey, I want I just want a set of dice that's this color, and like, as long as you feasibly have the materials, you could make that happen, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I do only take a set amount of commissions at a time, just because.
Like yeah, sure. It's just you.
One person, yeah. So I kind of have to budget my time, but along with taking the commissions, I do release a series of kind of dice collections, which is groupings of about 6, and each one of those I produce in a larger quantity. So you can order one of those and get a pretty close approximation to what the photograph on the website.
Okay. And yeah, so those are out and available in theory now, right? If people were to go to the website, there are dice there that they can pick up. Or
near the end of July, I'll be restocking the series 1 and then also releasing my second series.
Okay, so again, more reasons to keep an eye on the social media and things that are in the description to see when those dice come out. Got it.
I've also got a newsletter you can sign up for.
Oh, okay, great.
On my website. And that will keep you informed on the next time commissions open. So if you're hot to trot and have a really, a cool idea you want to see come to light for, a particular D&D character or theme or really anything, once the commission's open, you can get hold of me and maybe possibly take one of those slots.
So let's say I order a set of dice from you. I say, hey, I get one of your commission slots, and I say, hey, I want that. This is what I want. And then months down the road, I'm like, I want another set of those. It's going to be a similar scenario because it's all custom made. It's going to be basically like, there's not like a custom mix that exists that you made. Like, you made it for those dice, and then you would need to basically do it again, correct?
Well, I typically write down the recipe.
Okay, so you would have that, but
yeah. Each time I physically measure out exactly what I'm going to use, and it's very much like cooking. I gotta bake a new loaf each time. So,
and then just real quick before we kind of close this out here, so you've got your custom mix that you want to have. Just give me a quick rundown of how it goes from when it goes into the mold to when it comes out, because I imagine there's obviously it goes into a pressure pot, there's a bunch of sanding, and then I guess you're actually inking those by hand yourself as well.
Yeah, sure enough. Like you said, I do the resin mixture. I add what kind of inclusions, color, put it in a pressure pot, and squeezes out all the bubbles that make that crystal clear dice. And, yeah, once those come out, the mold system I use leaves not too much residual, they call it flashing, that needs to be kind of sanded and polished off. That's one of the things I've learned through trial and error, is just different steps and techniques that I can use to make kind of streamline the process and get the dice out the door faster. But yeah, I will sand those fresh dice once they're fully cured, from 400 grit sandpaper all the way to 8,000 grit, and do a little polishing after that. And then, depending on the set or the commission, I can ink it in any color of the rainbow.
If I wanted to be a real annoying person, to be like, I want the 1 to be black and the 7 to be orange, I could get that granular if I wanted to have each number be different on each face of the die.
Absolutely, yeah. If you wanted to.
All right. Interesting, because I mean that's the benefit you get of doing these things by hand, is you can get that degree of customizability rather than just injection ink into an existing mold that's just going down an assembly line. I won't do that to you, I promise.
Say that now. we'll see.
So, and I know you can do currently, I imagine, all the standard dice, right? 4, 6, 8, 10 percentile, 12, 20 is what your set is for?
Sure enough. I also have variants of the standard D4 shape.
Okay, so like not the
crystal
kind
of design.
Okay, well, that's another thing. Tell me what other kind of cool, is that the only kind of funky variant you've got, or have you have anything else like that?
Well, I have a few variants of the D6. Sometimes folks are. I'm. It's possible that I can make completely sharp edge dice if folks want, a true caltrop for their D4.
Gotcha.
I recommend.
Sure.
But I kind of have a variant that I use. Say I don't have an example of it right now, but kind of it's that pyramidal shape with the ends
cut corners. Sure.
Yeah, and that kind of lends itself to a little bit more of a kind of a modern design. And then this new kind of crystalline shape, and there's a few variants of the D10 shape.
Okay. Yeah. So because I just wanted to point out too, right? So if you're not a D&D player, right? So say I want to play World of Darkness, right? And I want to use all D10s. I want a set of D10s. That's a thing I could order too, right?
Yeah.
If I wanted that, and then if I'm using, whatever the case may be, a system that uses not just the standard set of 7 dice, and I want I want 2 D20s because I want to do advantage, disadvantage, or I want to do, just a bunch of D6s, but I won't want the ones that I grabbed out of my Monopoly box. I want custom D6s, so I want a set of those for whatever. I could do that. I could place that kind of an order.
Yeah. With commissions, that's absolutely. And also, it's not currently an option on my website, but I have plans to very soon add ordering single D20 options as well as D6s or individual dies.
Okay.
So you could, kind of mix and match to your pleasure. And
okay, yeah, that's cool because I've been looking into a lot of other RPG systems, and some of them don't use, the standard set of dice. They focus on more other bits, and then in the future I'll have to just convince him to do other funky die shapes like D30s and other things like that. But
I can do it.
So, all right, well,
I can build it.
Yeah, all right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Take that and run with it for all the commissions. And once again, there'll be links, like I said, in the description for all the social medias, as well as the website. And be sure to sign up for that newsletter so you can stay up to date for when commissions open and when new sets drop and become available. Like I said, I'll have throughout here, and I'll have links to some images you can go check out, or you can just check the website to go see all the different dice that have existed thus far, including some with custom facing, which is pretty cool.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, by all means.
I've kind of partnered with the Venture Maidens podcast.
Sure.
And together we're doing dice giveaways for each of the Venture Maidens streams.
Mm-hmm.
So if you come and hang out at their Twitch chat, you'll have your chance to win a custom.
Do you have one that you can show right now?
I sure do.
Let's see. So is this just D20s, or is it 6s, or what's the?
So both the D20 and the D6.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
Their Pins of Fate.
The custom logo. So again, potentially, if someone down the road is looking to do commissions with custom facing, that's an option. But obviously, commissions have to be open, and that's a discussion you would have with the person looking what kind of a face. But you do custom D20 faces, which is not a common thing. So while we're talking on the theme of customization, not only can we do what we talked about by custom inking the die, custom designing the mixture, you've done a couple other custom jobs as well that we can showcase here. So you were just telling me about one with the D6s. Why don't we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. One of the variants I'll be offering soon is kind of the classic Pips style D6 that you can get just about anywhere, but this is my own kind of take on it. If you can make out the details, I put the pips in a kind of my own arrangement to make them stand out just a little bit more.
Yeah, if not, we'll definitely get a picture of it on screen here to showcase it. But so yeah, basically you can have those pips, but in any real configuration that's your custom configuration, right?
Yeah, sure enough. Yeah, my own take on it, just to stand out from the crowd a little bit.
Sure, and there was something else you wanted that I thought was really, really cool that you wanted to showcase.
Yeah, so each one of my sets that I'll be offering on the website or via commissions, will include its own player token, branded, of course.
Yes,
And
sure.
yeah, whenever I played D&D, and gathering around the table, some folks, love their minis, Ted, and there's bound to be those. Oh,
Custom little Ted mini here,
Hero Forge, yeah.
Yep.
But there's bound to be those players that forget their mini, and 9 times out of 10, it seems like they end up using the D4 or some random D6. And I thought, if you're gonna go for it and buy the set of dice, you might as well have your own kind of matching player token. So I designed this to fit on any standard, chess X 1-inch.
So 1-inch grid map.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I figured that would be your own personal stand-in, and at the same time, you get to still have your little show-off moment of displaying the same features that your custom set has.
Yeah. So again, to your point, usually in my experience, it's usually a D12 because it never comes up. Or very rarely does a D12 get rolled. And that's always, something I always experience whenever I played a convention. It's like, I didn't bring any minis, and it's like either the DM has their tackle boxes full of minis, and they're like, you can be this guy, or you're like, I'll be this D12. But now you can be like, well, check out this cool little token that I have that's the same mix, whether it be like, you spent all this time custom designing this color mix with mica and 24 karat gold pieces. Now you have a little token that matches it, and then you could be like, well, here's me. Check that out. That's pretty cool. Plus, you've got the cool logo on it as well.
Oh, thank you, Ted.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of the logo as well. So that's such a really cool and such a simple concept. And you're probably going to have extra resin when you're making these molds anyway. So to just pour it into a little token like that is just like you're not wasting resin, and everybody gets a little something extra. And that, again, like you said, is something unique to what you offer. So all the more reason to go check it out. And this is going to be only available for custom sets, or would this be for the sets you have offered, you get one with it, and then if you commission one, you get that as well? How would that work?
So each set that I make, if you buy a full set of dice from me, they will include a matching player token. And at some point, I'll probably have an option to buy individual tokens as well.
Okay. All right. Well, that is, again, another awesome custom option, just making you further stand out from everybody else. All right. Well, before we close this out, is there anything else you want people to know about you, the dice, the website, the process before we bring this interview to a close?
I'd say just if you like what I do, come follow me on Twitter. That's probably where I post the most, and you can have a nice, direct conversation with me. And follow me for all the fun updates. And I look forward to making all sorts of cool dice and making your commissions a reality.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe, for coming out and spending 20 minutes here with me as we went through this. And I'll see you all next time.